Thought this would be a little fun exercise that I haven't done in a good little bit. So I figured I'd just show some stocks and break them down to the best of my ability. This is Thinkorswim we're looking at, and they have preset watch lists. Is in your fidgets. You can go to the top 10. I went to top 10 loss on the Nasdaq, top 10% loss on the Nasdaq. So up first is ELWS. Has some crazy pops. So this stock has a history of doing some pops and drops. So this is the 1 year, 1 day. Let's look at the 3 year. Had a big pop here. It doesn't have much data past that. So on the 1 year, recently, massive pop and drop. I'm going to go to the 4 hour, 180 day. And I already was drawing out some lines. When I draw my support and resistance, I kind of line it up with as many candle hits as it has, as I can see. There's some wick there, candle close, candle close. You know, it's really choppy in this area. For the base, you see it goes down a little bit sometimes, goes up a little bit, but really chops around this area. Had a drop there. Whoops, how do I zoom out? Okay. And you can see as it broke down at one point, it was hanging out and around this range, which created like a new zone, pops back up, chops around there, and then it breaks out and we're falling back down. These are deviation trends, so it's hanging out around this deviation trend. I would predict this sets up a sort of like a bear flag, hover in this range and snap back down into this area. What it does in this area, probably chop around a little bit, and then we'd have to watch it to see if it'll go up or if it'll go down. But I could anticipate this area kind of being a buy zone. We'd have to see how it reacts, make sure the volume stays intact. I would just watch and see. I wouldn't do anything in this area unless you want to take it short for this little move down. Could get about a dollar, get a point difference there. Who knows? I'll watch it. It's on the watch list. Then we got LFMD. I was looking at this one a little bit. Get this out of here. I broke down these zones as well. You see it chopped around this area, pushes up, chops around this area until one day it broke out of this area. Big candle over. Did some stuff around there, snaps back down and hovers it back out around these areas. Breaks up. Yada yada yada. Big snap down and it bounces off the deviation. I would anticipate similarly to what happened here, where it pushes up, fakes back out. I think that's kind of what we would see here. Snap back down to this area, and then I would anticipate this deviation acting as a resistance for a little bit as it snaps below, hangs out in this what would become support. Hopefully it tests it as support, and then it would hang out in this area and see how I'd have to watch and see how it reacts there. Next, Benny. I got Benny. Alright, Benny. We're on the 180 day 4 hour chart, just trending down. This opened up in, when is this? What day was this? At 7/28. Yeah, on the 28th. So this is a pretty new stock that's just trending straight down from a high of 22.5 to a low of 290. I wouldn't touch it yet. It's just straight up trending down. I don't see anything with this thing yet. I wouldn't buy it now because it can keep going lower. You know, the 50% sell off from here is just down to like $1.50. You lose half your money. Rather just wait and see how it acts. It's had some decent volume on these days. Selling volume, that is. So I wouldn't do nothing there. BLMN. Big snap down. Now this one I haven't looked at yet. I like to check out. I like to go back a year. I like to get the full picture. I'll even check out the 20-year from time to time. Just kind of hangs out in this zone. So these deviation trends are good. It's good to look at. You can see it really hovers in this one deviation. Pretty, once it did that, buy. I mean, that's obvious to most people, right? And when it sells off big, buy it, assuming it's not going out of business. But at this point, it looks like they actually cut their dividend after that. Had to recoup something, so they were going through some hardship right there. When was that? That was in March of 2020. That makes sense. Big run up. So it's back down. So do we buy it? BLMN. I'm not sure what that is. BLMN. They own a bunch of restaurants that you've probably heard of. Bloomin' Brands is a large casual dining restaurant company that owns and operates 4 main restaurant concepts: Outback, Carrabba's, Bonefish, and Fleming's Prime Steakhouse and Wine Bar. I hope they're not going out of business. I love me some Outback and Carrabba's. Now, as dividend-paying stocks fall, the yield goes up. Hopefully, they don't cut their dividend. Bloomin' Brands fell 27.6% in the afternoon session after the company reported declining profit margins and slashed its full-year earnings forecast, citing rising costs. Profitability eroded due to higher expenses for labor, commodities, and operations. The company's restaurant-level operating margin tightened to 12% from 14% a year earlier. The company projected a loss for the upcoming third quarter, a sharp contrast to analyst expectations for a profit. I like to invest in things that people need. If times get tough, restaurant eating out is going to be one of the first things people cut from their expenses. But they've been around the block. 1988. I don't think it's a bad company, and the news doesn't seem that bad. Maybe as even just like a swing hold. I'm going to see how this reacts over the next couple days. Just to even hold it in this range that we discussed and collect a dividend in the meantime. Really, in my opinion, not that bad of a play, assuming they don't cut the dividend. It's almost at its previous low, too. So where does it chop around? This is a pretty choppy area. See, it has a lot of hits there, in here, and also up here. So I've said in the past, when we talk about support and resistance, I don't really think of support and resistance as a single exact number. It's more of a zone. See, it chops around this zone, so you'd want to buy it around here, but it broke that. So now we can anticipate that being a resistance. We can extend these to the left to see how they hold up as a support resistance zone on the 3-year. Never got there, really. Looking at the 20-year, though. Yeah. It's on the radar. LNTH. We've tested this. Let's get it off the 1 year. Let's see. Significant buying coming in on that candle as it gapped down. Got some chopping in that area. in that area. Obviously, we're well past that, but that's some significant zones to look out for. Because the more choppiness that happens in a zone, the more likely as it gets there it's going to be rejected. So I'd like to have that as a potential target in mind. Extend it to the left. See, it did it back there too. I mean, this is another one. Like, why is this down so big? Bad earnings. And then here's like another. So if it were to fall further, I mean, this would be a fire zone to buy in, because it would have confluence with this like support that it was bouncing around at before it eventually broke up right there. Massive candle. It would have confluence with this deviation trend at that point. So that would be like a massive buy zone. Like, I wouldn't think twice about it. If it got there, you would see movement back up to probably this deviation, as it did there. Alright, well, that was some fun little breakdowns. I'm a little rusty. I haven't really looked at stocks too much, but I'm going to do this more probably.